Hey everyone, this is Recovered in Salvation. I'm your host Nathan. We're back. I'm back from my trip. It's good to be back. I'm ready to jump back in. But before we get into anything, this is Recovered in Salvation. And with me, as always, is my co-host Kobe. We don't have a live studio audience right now. We're in poverty.
We kicked them out.
Something like that.
Okay. They were for bringing in a whole bigger audience room.
Yep. A couple of announcements before we jump in. Debates and like the TikTok lives will be starting next week. They'll be on my personal profile, which is Nate Nation. And then the goal is to get 50 followers on TikTok and YouTube on the official Recovered in Salvation page. So my brothers and sisters, I don't like asking, but if you can give me a follow on those, give us a follow, just so we can do the lives on those pages instead, that would be awesome. And again, that would be on YouTube, TikTok, and hopefully we can move to Instagram at one point. That's all I've got. Let's dive in with the daily bread. We got 2 Timothy 2:11 through 13. The saying is trustworthy, for if we have died with him, we will also live with him. If we endure, we will also reign with him. If we deny him, he also will deny us. If we are faithless, he remains faithful, for he cannot deny himself. And as always, my brothers and sisters, the good news, and that is that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, one of the three divine persons of the Holy Trinity, all one God, all one godly and divine essence, but three persons, the Son, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. He went on the cross for our sins. He did this for you and me, my brothers and sisters, and rose on the third day so we may place our faith in him and build that relationship with him and be obedient to him, for we are his servants. So my brothers and sisters, let us confess and repent of our sins, for the Lord is merciful and loving. And with that being said, let's dive into this topic. I've been really excited about this one. While I was on my trip, I did a lot of homework. A lot of my family down there, they're believers, but they do have some really interesting arguments. Big shout out to my uncle. He didn't have weird arguments. I think talking with him was genuinely the most fun I think I've had conversation-wise in theology. He has really good points. So to my uncle, I'm not gonna say your name, but if you're listening to this, really appreciate our talks about theology and God while I was on my trip.
Did your uncle like me? Was your uncle like me?
I mean, you're my co-host.
So did he, yes or no?
Yes. He probably doesn't know you exist. I'm playing. Yeah, this trip, I was listening to a lot of debates while on my trip. My uncle's not atheist. He is a Christian. Just so we're all clear. But I was just talking about how he has really good questions. Same with my cousin. That was sick. He just farted, dude. That's crazy. Same with my cousin. Really, that whole side just has really good questions in the theology of Christianity and God. But fortunately for you guys and for me, because this is going to be a learning experience in how educated I am in the atheist arguments, we're going to be talking about some common arguments for atheism. What me and Kobe will do is I have asked Copilot, I've asked AI to give me 7 common atheist arguments, and we are going to do our best to defend it. We are going to try to give an answer, and hopefully we can build off of each other and solve the problem. And if not, it's a sign that we need to learn more. But that being said, let's jump right in. So Kobe,
What
I told you before we started is that I have 7 common arguments.
Yeah, I heard your spiel.
Yeah. We're going to start with number 1. How would you defend the common argument that is the problem of evil? And the claim is that If God is all powerful and all good, evil should not exist. And since evil exists, either God is not all powerful, not all good, or does not exist. What would be your claim without reading this? What would be your claim? How would you defend that?
I say that goes back to the free will argument that me and you always seem to go down. Also, use a coaster.
Thank you. Can you tell me how?
I mean, it's kind of like the yin yang. For there to be good, there has to be evil. Isn't that always how they say? There's always going to be something that's going to tempt you to move.
Okay. I feel like...
Am I saying it wrong? I may be saying it wrong.
No. I mean, that's a pretty standard answer. I like that. I look at evil more so as like a parasite to good. It's not that evil has to exist for good to exist, because God is all good, which means, like before the betrayal of the angels, it was nothing but good. You know, I feel like evil is more of a parasite and not a consequence, but an effect of free will, like you said.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily yin and yang, but one clutches on to the other. And evil...
Is that what you... Oh, yeah, you read free will.
Yeah. And evil is just the opposite of good, because we have been given free will, which allows us to rebel against God, which is in essence evil. So my logic behind this, looking at it with you, would absolutely be free will. And the reason why I stick with free will so fondly is because when looking at free will and the concept and logical argument of free will, I feel like it makes more sense for there to be free will and a creator than just having that from evolution and no creator, because then it kind of just goes into the argument of good and evil as well when we look at free will. Because with a good choice, there's a bad choice I can make. You know what I mean? That's the argument of free will.
That's the whole good and evil thing.
Yep. And since God has given us logical and fairness, like a fair free will, we have the choice to disobey him, which in essence is evil. Anything that God does not command, or anything that disobeys God, is evil. So when Satan rebelled against God, that is evil. The problem of evil comes from free will. It's not that God is not all powerful. Just because he won't does not mean he can't. It's not that he's not all good, because if he was not all good, then he would have biases, or not biases, then he would make us robots in that sense. For him to be all good, he has to be fair. For him to be all good, he has to be righteous and just and fair and merciful. So for him to be all good, there has to be free will. And unfortunately, free will causes evil, because we have the ability to follow or to not follow God. And we can't use the argument that he does not exist either, because again, that would just be going into how the problem of evil doesn't really matter. If God doesn't exist, there is no all good. And then there's no evil.
So it's just all...
Just matter. It's just atoms.
Yeah, just all just hanging out.
Yeah. I feel like we tackled that one pretty well. What do you think?
I agree.
Okay.
Do you think there's I don't know how to say it without sounding like a crazy person.
No, hit me.
But it's like, do you think there's, like you said, for one to do good, there's always an evil?
Yeah.
Do you think there's like an alternate timeline or whatever to where, like, I could be evil and there's like a good side?
What do you mean?
Like if I chose to punch you in the face and I chose not to, is there somewhere that I did punch you in the face?
Well, I don't think that it's necessarily somewhere. Because I feel like that moves away from the idea of God, and that moves more into the idea of like alternate timelines.
Which I don't know how we feel about that.
Well, we can argue that God is all-seeing and all-knowing. He'll see every action you could take. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not that he's pushing you in one direction. It's because you are making the choice, but he already knows you're going to make that choice. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep.
All right. Argument number 2. Lack of empirical evidence. The claim is that there is no direct, observable proof of God's existence, no measurable data, repeatable experiments, or physical evidence. What would your argument be for that one?
There's nothing that exists.
Like no physical proof of God. What would your defense be there?
I mean, I don't know, because they've been finding a bunch of like actual physical evidence of stories in the Bible that have appeared throughout history. Like the big flood is there. They found like I think the remnants of Noah's Ark, or just a big ship that matches the description of it in the Bible.
Yeah.
There's even like stories of it in like other cultures that have the same. The stories match the same from their timeline to when the Bible was made.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of decent evidence that kind of shows that it was there.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. That would be good. That is good, actually. When we say there's no direct observable proof of God's existence,
isn't it like that's like the test?
Yeah, that's the problem with that. Is that God is not a physical being. He is a spiritual being. We won't see God physically. Like, I can't, like, Jesus...
Say, the last physical being that came through, we nailed him on the cross.
Basically. The Son is the flesh. Like, he was the mediator. We would have seen him. But if we're talking in the sense of the Father or God as a whole, he is, not as a whole, but, like, God, like just God overall, like, the spiritual being of God, that's not possible. We can't see the Father because the Father isn't a physical being, just like how the Son wasn't until he came down as flesh from the heavens through Mary.
Yeah.
So physical evidence just is not possible. Or it's not that it's not possible. God could absolutely do it. However, because he transcends like all of like those measurements, and because he is a spiritual being at this moment in time, I don't know if he'll change that in the future. If he'll come down as man again or do his thing, or like if he'll like disguise himself as someone, we won't see him in full. We won't see his true like form. You know what I mean? Like how when he went into the tent, or he covered, I can't remember if it was Moses or not, but he's like, I'm gonna cover you with my hand because you can't see my body in whole, or it'll kill you or something like that.
Brutal.
Hold on, I think I'm onto something.
Okay. See, now the song's gonna be stuck in my head all day, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. I only kind of blame you for it.
You're welcome. Here we go. Sorry, that took me a minute. In Exodus 33:22.
Overwhelming holiness.
No, seriously.
That's a title right there, dude.
Because that's what he is. He is a holy being.
Well, he just like turned it. Like, remember? You've seen Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah.
When they open the covenant and all the Germans like faces all melt off because they can't handle looking at it.
Yeah.
Is that what would have happened to him?
I guess. So the way I understand this, I said that God is a spiritual being, and there can't be physical proof because of his holiness, his divinity. It says in the Bible, Exodus 33:22, or 21 through 23. You ready? And the Lord said, Behold, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock. And while my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen. Which kind of goes to show that God is a divine, very divine, all-powerful, all-knowing being. Which means if we try to look at him, we'll die. That's why physical evidence just isn't possible in regards to the Father. If we want... I feel like with a problem with this argument is we need to be more specific. Do we need physical proof of God existing, like a physical body? Because then we could look at Jesus, the Shroud of Turin, the historical documents that prove his resurrection and prove that he was a real man. The Gospels, like there's physical evidence for Jesus. However, if we're looking more into the spirituality of it, we can't do that. We can't do that. Not that he can't do it. We can't do it. You know what I mean?
Do you know how God told Moses that if he looks at me, you will die?
Yeah.
Do you think God learned that the hard way? Like
No.
he went down and he was like, "Hey guys," and all of a sudden they all just died, and he's like, "Dang it!"
All knowing. All knowing God. I think he knows his divinity, which is why we couldn't see him.
Was Moses the only one that's seen the spiritual being?
He's seen his back. He was being covered.
Was that as close as anyone's going to get?
I guess. But even then, I don't believe. I don't know. I can't explain Exodus 33 good enough.
Will we get to see him once we go to the other side?
From what I understand, he's like literally the light. Like he's the light in heaven. So
you just have to stare at a bright light?
No, like we'll feel his presence constantly, like in full.
Can I say hi to the bright light?
They don't know. Why don't you go to heaven and ask that question?
Hey.
Okay.
You just see like lights.
You ready for argument number 3?
Yeah.
The success of natural explanations. The claim is that science explains phenomena once attributed to God, such as the origins of life, evolution, cosmology, which makes divine explanations unnecessary. So essentially what it's saying is that science explains stuff like the origins of life, evolution, when that explanation was once because of God.
I feel like science and religion actually go pretty more hand in hand. A lot of people want to believe.
I agree. I really do.
Science kind of picks up things from religion and can either be like,
yes,
something crazy has happened or we just can't prove it.
Yeah.
And then religion's been like, well, science has this. It's kind of helped us solve many questions about what may have happened back in those days.
I agree. And that's where I agree with you too. Science and religion absolutely go hand in hand. When we look at these two things that people like to separate and put them together, I feel like we get more answers than we do by themselves.
Oh, yeah. Because you need one for the other. Yeah. Sometimes.
I mean, like the Bible itself is all we need, but having science to kind of further understand it and see more of the physical proof of like certain incidents is great.
Although those Christian scientists kind of bug me out a little bit.
Which one?
They don't believe in modern medicine. They believe that if someone's sick, God will heal them, or if the kid dies, then he was just meant to die.
Well, God will heal them through the doctor who has studied medicine.
As in they won't
God gave him that talent and ability to do so.
They won't go to doctors. They pray on it. They require prayer to heal them.
I hope people know that there were doctors at that time too who genuinely healed people.
I'm gonna make sure. This Family Guy did an episode about it where this kid.
I know what you're talking about.
They're Christian scientists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, actually, let's stem off briefly from the atheist arguments. A thing I hear that a lot. Why doesn't God just do a miracle and heal this kid?
Sickness and sin are overcome through a power of divine truth and prayer rather than physical matter.
Both prayer and divine truth may lead to the physical matter healing the boy. You know what I mean?
Then God is understood as infinite divine mind, spirit, and supreme love, which is now we.
Yes, he's.
The Bible adherents accept the inspired word of the Bible as their guide to eternal life. That's what we also do. Headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts. While history is known for relying strictly on spiritual healing, modern members exercise individual choice regarding medical care. Okay, cool. So they have branded out. But I guess there's probably some like diehards that have been like, we'll still stick with.
Well, so for those diehards, what we can argue is that God has given the dream of being a doctor to someone for them to heal people and do His work and work with them or work through them to heal people. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I feel like we see a lot of doctors nowadays, and that's why people say, God did it. It's not that the doctor didn't do it. The doctor is the one who's committing to the action to save the life, but it is by God that he is able to do so. So when I say God did it, He literally did it. He caused this to happen. God did it. That's not to say, and for people who listen to this and think I'm like discrediting the doctor, no one said the doctor didn't do anything. The doctor did the surgery, but it is through God that he had and learned the material necessary to do it perfectly, or to do it to the point to where the person's life is saved.
Should we do Christian Scientist as his own episode?
Not really. It's a weird argument.
Yeah, I think because it's kind of like with us, but it's like a small branch kind of on the side.
Well, it's not even like it's with us. It's just people who misunderstand modern material and like who put modern material in a negative light. And
we can make like a history thing of how they started and all that stuff.
Maybe like modern material is bad because it's not like we're taking it up with us. Everything on Earth is temporary. However, medicine is good. Medicine is good because God has given the doctor or the pharmacist the ability to give you the medicine to help you with your sickness.
I work in a pharmacy.
Yeah,
I'm not bad.
Like God gives you the strength to go to that pharmacy and help people. You know what I mean? Like that's why when people say God did it, it doesn't discredit the doctor who did the surgery.
All the old people I help.
Yeah. All right, ready for argument number 4?
What do you got? I'm trying to look at the computer since I think you have how you answered it on there.
Oh, that's AI, dude. I've been answering it on my own. Like I've been.
Oh, just copy and pasted.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've been pulling all that up. I've been pulling all that from like the brain.
I want to look at my own. I don't want to have AI help me.
Yeah. Argument number 4 would be the incoherence of divine attributes. So the claim is attributes like omniscience, omnipotence, and omnibenevolence are logically contradictory or impossible to coexist. What would be your defense there? We can skip this one if you like.
So you used a lot. All those are really big words, except for R and or.
Yeah.
Attribute.
I can answer this.
Like omniscient.
So like,
I'll let you take your control on that one.
Yeah. So what we're looking at is something that it works beyond us. This is what we can. This is what we can perceive. It's not that it's logically contradictory or impossible to coexist. It's just that we don't have the ability to have it. We are not all knowing. We're not all seeing. We're not all powerful. And these aren't contradictory. This is a divine being who works outside of our scale. We don't know, or not that we don't know. We can't perceive this because we don't have it, because we're limited. I guess it does say that right here on the AI, but I would have said this anyway. We are limited by our understanding because we're not a divine being. They're not conflicting. They complement God and who he is. Yeah. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Claim number 5. If God wants all people to know him, universal belief should exist. The fact that many do not believe implies either God does not exist or does not desire universal belief.
I think that's back to free will. Like, he can't force you to believe him.
Yeah, basically. We could probably go back on that. I'm just going to read it from here.
I think we covered that in another episode too.
We did. God absolutely loves us enough to give us free will, and he wants us to have an authentic faith. He doesn't want us to be robots and forcefully follow him. He loves us enough to give us the choice, not to force. So it's not that he doesn't want everyone to believe in him. It's just he wants us to choose him. It's very different. Free will, we can't limit free will because then it's not free will. If you limit my choices, you're taking away my free will. It's just very interesting. Okay. Claim number 6. The historical and cultural relativity of religion. Religious belief varies by culture and era, suggesting it's a human construct, not divine revelation.
Because people put the words that he made into its own thing.
No. Yeah, like religion, yeah.
Like, the whole Bible is us putting it all together.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though.
Does it mean, how cultures just... how they're different beliefs in different cultures?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the free will again, isn't it?
Yeah, that's also argued. But then it's also, it's not the religion that I follow. It's God that we follow. Even if religion didn't exist, that doesn't mean God wouldn't exist. This isn't a game where we need to have faith in him for him to exist. He still exists. He would exist 100% without religion. And I feel like all the cultural diversity is really just us trying to find the truth, But I feel like it's been consistent across throughout the ages, throughout the years of its existence, and the
thousands of years,
basically, and every aspect it's been consistent. Not the Quran though, but that's a different conversation. And then the final argument, the burden of proof. The claim is that the default position should be disbelief until evidence proves otherwise. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. What do you think there? What they're saying is we shouldn't believe until we see proof.
Oh, the whole seeing is believing thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things where you just gotta just put faith in it.
Well, okay, that's fair. I mean, that makes sense. But then we can also argue, how can we say disbelief when we have the Gospels? And when we look at the historical context at the time that show the reliability of the Gospels in the in the Old Testament, not the Torah, in the Old Testament. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Bible has been consistent throughout the 2,000 years we've had it. It was the Old Testament was before. I mean, the New and Old Testament. For the 2,000 years we've had it. This isn't
Like I say, it must be because they haven't changed it in 2,000 years.
That's what I'm saying. This hasn't stemmed from nothing. They've removed books, but that's a whole different...
Did they disprove those books, or was it just because they just didn't feel like it made sense to have them?
No, Martin Luther just didn't want them on there.
Oh?
Yeah. We'll talk about him at one point.
Fair enough.
He made the Protestants, basically.
Oh, yeah.
That is the Protestant guy.
I remember that.
Yep. The Bible would be my proof. Would be proof of an extraordinary claim. That would be extraordinary evidence. The geographical proof, the modern miracles we see on a day-to-day basis, I feel like that's extraordinary evidence for an extraordinary claim. The idea of existence, morality, and consciousness, I feel like it's harder for an atheist to stay on their baseline. It's harder for an atheist to sit on the seat that they made and stay on it, because it just doesn't leave room for the idea of good. It doesn't leave room for the idea of good and evil. At the end of the day, if there is no God, there is no good and evil, there's no morality, and we are just atoms mashing together. So if I kill someone, it doesn't matter because we're just atoms colliding, and I just was the stronger atom, or the stronger collective of atoms. But yeah, anyways, guys, that is the 7 arguments that I have found and that we have reviewed for atheism. I'm sure there's more. We'll probably dig into more of those another time. A couple announcements before we end the episode. Like I said earlier, debates will begin next week. So by the time you guys are seeing this, it'll be Tuesday, July 28th. So we'll start. I don't have a time specifically. Maybe by Thursday's episode we'll have a time frame for that, but we will be going live later in the night. So be sure to check that out. We'll try to go on 2 to 3 times a week for maybe a few hours tops. I think that's all we've got. I think we've brought up Spotify and YouTube 100 times over, and then Apple Podcasts. Remember that the Lord loves you, and we love you, and that's all we've got for this episode, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.